Welcome back. One Bills Live. John Murphy, Steve Tasker doing the show. I'm home. Steve's home. You're home, maybe. Maybe you're not. Give us a call either way. 803-0550. Toll free 1-888-550-2550. We are on the line right now with Bills Center Mitch Morse. He and his wife Caitlin have come up with a plan. They've donated $100,000 to Feed More Western New York, a nonprofit, formerly Meals on Wheels and the Food Bank, providing food for Western New Yorkers of all ages. Mitch Morse on the line with us. Mitch, hello there. How you doing? How you holding up today?
I'm holding up, guys. How are y'all holding up?
Good. You're out in Kansas City, right? But this is an amazing, I mean, you've only been here 1 year, Mitch, and this is an amazing amount of generosity, $100,000. Tell me the origin of this plan.
You know, much like y'all, my wife and I are sitting here at home, and there's so much uncertainty going on, but at the same time, we thought, we're just looking at our lives and we're watching free agency and thinking about the crazy year it's been for our family and the opportunity Buffalo gave us this time last year to be part of this community and just to be set for life. We just had our first child, and for her to be financially taken care of thanks to Buffalo. And we were so thankful. And we talked about the friendships we made in the community and the Bills organization, and thought that the least we can do was give back to everyone's being affected right now by this, and any way we can help out, we thought we should.
And I don't want to, Mitch, Steve Tasker here, I don't want to count out or forget about Caitlin, your wife, and congratulations to the both of you on your first baby. And also talking about, it's really a smart move and I think appropriate move at this point of where our country's at there are already mechanisms and people who are jumping in trying to help everyone. And of course, the Feed More Western New York is a group that's doing that. And just for having, as an example for you and your wife to jump on board with somebody who's already doing so much really is something that we can all do without having to get out into the community.
Sure, Steve. I think you have something there. In any other circumstance, any other given moment, you'd want to be of service yourself in the community. But there's already so many brave people out there taking the initiative. For us, each person is different, right? For some people who aren't into, don't have the ability to make donations of any kind.
Mitch, are you there? Did we lose him? Hello?
Since we have the opportunity, we might as well help out those people who are already, putting their best foot forward there in Western New York.
Mitch, I was reading the statement that you and your wife Caitlin issued about your donation, and it reminded me, and I confess, I did not realize how dependent many school children in Buffalo and everywhere were on food provided at school. And now that there's no school, that is in jeopardy. Something like this can help sort of supplement, can it? Just to help people who may have to look for different ways to find their food these days.
I think you nailed it on the head, right? For us, I'm sure for all of us, we are fortunate enough not to worry about food. And if that's something you have to worry about along with everything else going on, how do you function? Kudos to these school systems for providing support in that department. So any way you can, especially the elderly who go through these places to get food together, and everyone's affected by it, and in ways that I never even thought about at the beginning that this would affect.
Yeah, and it's amazing too, because you don't really think about it. You kind of eat when you're hungry for a lot of people, but for some of them, they have to go to places where they congregate, kids going to school, elderly people going to community centers, and all those places where they congregate to eat or to get their meals are now off limits. So places like, and then with the food bank and Meals on Wheels coming together for Feed More Western New York, they make these deliveries and they do it for people and now, they're expanding the backpack program for thousands of kids across 4 different counties here in Western New York. They're getting their pantry, a mobile pantry that's out in the community to serve some people who are vulnerable. Thanks to you and Caitlin, they have more resources because they've got to expand because of the situation the country's in. What did they say about you and the feedback that they give you about how much difference this will make?
For me, it wasn't trying to toot our horn. We reached out and they were so swamped. And the Bills helped facilitate this tremendously. And we're just hoping that those dollars help. And to be honest, I think the greatest thing about Buffalo is how damn resilient this town is. It's a blue-collar town that has a chip on its shoulder. And, I mean, if anything's going to create another chip on their shoulder, it's this. And that's when the people of Buffalo and Western New York, the best is brought out of them. People rise together. People come together. And it is such a community that's so intertwined and love one another. You know, I think it's the city or the city of neighborly love. Is that right? It's remarkable. So hopefully this town just kicks some butt, and we'll see the end of this, you know, in some time in the foreseeable future, and we'll all be much stronger from it. But until then, I feel like we all have to do our part, no matter what that is.
Live on the line with Bill Senator Mitch Morse. He and his wife Caitlin have donated $100,000 to feed more Western New York. I know, you know how it is, Mitch. Most people are going to say, "Hey, did you hear what Mitch Morse did?" It's important to note that your wife Caitlin played a big role in this, right?
Oh my gosh, she is my better half, and everything we do together. It's what makes us so great. She is my partner, my rock. She's my best friend, and yeah, there's no way I'm making this decision by myself. It's for sure. It's actually one of her great ideas that she kind of spitball, and we bounced back and forth and decided it was a great idea. So it's actually more her than me. I mean, once I heard about it, I was totally on board, but she's a huge part in playing in this, and she's such a trooper and my best buddy.
And one of the things about this too, and you mentioned that in the statement and the bills as well, that there are so many great organizations in Buffalo that need our support now more than ever to help other people get through this. So due to your efforts and you're making everybody aware with your contribution that they should get out there and just to be kind to one another and check on people. If you can't, you know, try and make sure everybody's got something going on, that nobody gets forgotten and feels isolated. While we do have to be separated, we don't have to be isolated. And I think your donation to this group really brings awareness to the fact that while we are separate, we don't have to be isolated.
And I think that's a huge point, right? There's a difference between being, you know, social distancing and isolation. You know, just because we're supposed to be, you know, have social distance doesn't mean we're supposed to be shut-ins from our neighbor. We're supposed to love one another, love our neighbor. And even if that's donating food to your neighbor, they're short on toilet paper or something, help each other out, man. It's what being a neighbor is all about, and it's what we're put on this earth for, is to serve one another, in my opinion. So what a time to do that than right now.
We should make note that Feedmore is a relatively new conglomeration of the Food Bank of Buffalo and Meals on Wheels, so people aren't confused. The money goes to two agencies that have demonstrated over the years how much they've done to feed the hungry in Western New York. So that's important too, huh, Mitch?
Absolutely. I think it is one of those cool things that made me very interested in this, is that they're two incredible entities on their own, collaborated, and have really, I mean, they've stuck the knife in this thing and taken the first step in the initiative amongst many other great organizations, but this is one I just chose. This isn't the only one you should look into. I mean, you're at home, do your due diligence, see what you think is best fit for you and your personality and where you think your money would go best. And like you said, you're not forced to donate anything. Just be a great neighbor.
One of the last things, Mitch, before we will ask you one thing about the bills, but before we go, how are you and your family with a new baby handling the situation with the coronavirus, and how's it going for you and your new family?
You know what? We've been shut-ins for a while before this now, so no sleep. She's such a blessing, though. It really is. Life changes forever for you. You hear it, and you don't really realize the scope of it until it happens to you. We've been just so blessed, and it's actually kind of nice because we get to spend some quality time with this kiddo, and we'll just ride it out. I mean, we'll play it day by day, week by week, and we'll be at the tail end of this at some point, and we'll all be holding hands singing Kumbaya one day here soon.
Yeah. Hey, Mitch, one football question. Your thoughts on just in general the Bills' moves? Any thoughts about re-signing Quentin Spain and maybe the addition of Stephon Diggs? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this will be the first time in my tenure as a football player professionally that I've been around, or even in college for that matter, the same starting five offensive line on paper, at least from one year to another. I think for speaking of continuity, this is going to be huge for us. And I mean, I think in the other facet in the offseason move, Dean, Coach McDermott and Pagulas have had a plan these last few years, and they've stuck to it, haven't tried to do too much or too little. They know what they're looking for, and I think, looking at all those individuals, very excited to meet these guys and get to work with them.
Hey, Mitch, $100,000 from you and your wife to benefit Feed More Western New York. What can Bills fans listening in, how can they join in? How can they help?
Yeah, I think, like I said earlier, just do your due diligence. You have some time. You have go online, check out. There'll be some resources. I know the Bills will put out resources for you to look into to help donate. I'd love for you to join me in any capacity and Feed More. I think they're doing a great deal. And if you can't do that, that's fantastic. Just be the best husband, father, family member, neighbor you can be, and we'll get through this.
I'll let people know. I see it right here on the Bills website, the story about Mitch's and his wife's donation. And at the bottom, you can there's a link to the PayPal account for Feed More Western New York and more information on how you get involved. So they make it easy. Thanks, Mitch.
No, thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Mitch.
Mitch Morse, Bills Center. He and his wife Caitlin have come up with a $100,000 donation to Feed More Western New York. It's a conglomeration of Meals on Wheels. It's a nonprofit conglomeration of Meals on Wheels and the Food Bank, committed to providing food for Western New Yorkers of all ages.